Our discussion this afternoon marks the start for the first grammar lesson that we are to have this school year. Actually, the lesson that we have now is one which I've already done with other grade levels, because this lesson is one that is a prerequisite in those topics that I've had with the grade 8 and even with the grade 10. So if you go online and visit my YouTube channel, where there are already 935 subscribers, shout out to those who have managed to increase the numbers to 935. Thank you for your support. I know that you are helping me on this. Thank you so much. Special shout out to Claire for being always supportive in for every time that I make updates about this. Special shout out to Claire for being very supportive. To those who have also done their share of increasing my subscriptions, thank you so much. No words can express how much I'm really how grateful I am for your help. For the lesson that we'll have now, I hope that you'll spend time looking at the chat box for whatever it is that I'm going to type, because sentences are going to be provided. Aside from the ones found in the module, I'll be providing sentences as additional examples or additional notes for the module for the lesson that we have now. As an English teacher, I am more into grammar myself. I won't say that I am an expert in grammar, but I have a preference for grammar over literature. We've had like 10 lessons, I suppose. 10 lessons in literature so far, 8 for the prelims on the first quarter. 2 lessons that we've had for the second quarter are in literature as well. So we've had 10 lessons in total for literature. And like what I said earlier, today's lesson marks the start for our grammar discussions. Our discussions this afternoon will not right away proceed with the concept of coordinating ideas. We shall begin by knowing what clauses are. I'd like us to begin with that. Clauses. For sure, and I hope this is not the first time that you've encountered the word or the term clauses. In our orientation to sentence construction or sentence formation, grammar discussions have brought us to the concept of clauses. And so we are asked, what makes a clause a clause? This question floats. I even floated it to the grade 8 students, to the grade 10 students. I want this question to float because the requirements to call a group of words a clause, indeed should be kept in mind while we are going to have the lesson on coordinating ideas and the rest of the lessons that we'll have talking of sentences. Is there someone who is not on mute? There. Here are the 3 important requirements for a clause to be called a clause. First requirement, it is a group of words. That's one important requirement. A clause can be called a clause if it is a group of words. But that's not the only requirement. That group of words must be composed of subject and a predicate, which by simple definition is a verb. So again, first requirement, a group of words. Second requirement, in that group of words, you need to have a subject and a predicate. The predicate, if traced to your parts of speech, is what we refer to as the verb. Third requirement, that group of words that contains a subject and the verb expresses a thought, which could be complete or incomplete. If the thought turns out to be a complete one, if the thought is complete, the clause is referred to as an independent clause. If the thought is incomplete, we call that a dependent clause. Now let's try to examine this group of words. Jumping up and down. Is that a group of words? First requirement. Yes or no? Alanes. Alanes. Try to look at jumping up and down. Is that a group of words? It is. Definitely and obviously it is a group of words. It might be a clause, but let's consider the other two requirements. Is there a subject and a predicate in this group of words, Ralph?
No, sir.
There's none, correct. Therefore, jumping up and down is never going to be a clause. Sir, how do we call jumping up and down then? It is called a phrase. Both are fragments. Clauses and phrases are fragments. It's just a matter of what makes a group of words called a clause or a phrase that sets the difference between the two. That's why I have to give you those three requirements. Try to consider this. When he went to the market, is it a group of words, Jukon? I said something in the chat box. When he went to the market, is that a group of words? Jukon?
No.
Is it not? Try to look. What can you see? Is it just one word?
Showcases several features of exclusive
Jukon?
exclusive replacement.
No, sir.
However,
What can you see there? A group of words or just a word?
A group of words.
A group of words. Therefore, when he went to the market, satisfies the first requirement. Let's go to the second requirement. Is there a subject? Is there a verb in that group of words? George?
which will be highlighted by two of the mechanical weathering.
George Kent?
Or the uplifting and the
Yes.
Okay, according to George, there's a subject, there's also a verb. Can you tell us, please, George, what the verb and the subject are in that group of words?
originate purpose of the information, including the
Went and market.
Again?
Which will be
Again, please.
again focusing on how holding and holding are
George?
then defined according
I wait, went and he.
Correct. It's not market. People, now that you're in grade 9, allow me to say, you should know what a subject is in a sentence.
in the earth's class.
By simple definition, the subject is the one being talked about.
Premature on the landscape.
The sentence revolves around the subject. In that group of words, it does not revolve around the market. Rather, it talks about the pronoun the person represented by the pronoun he. And so, George changed his answer, and it's good that he did. The correct answers are he for the subject and went for the verb. Second requirement is completed. Second requirement has been satisfied. Third requirement, is there a thought in this sentence, Clarice?
Surface that we have
There is. How would you describe the thought, Clarice? Complete or incomplete?
wave patterns. Anticline is the best, but incline is
It's just incomplete, correct? Regardless,
and
there is a thought.
in the presence of
That means that when he went to the market,
so from the name
qualifies as a clause.
track or a form
Again, I'm pointing this out because our lesson this afternoon talks of
basically
coordinating ideas.
certain
And the process of coordinating ideas involves independent
convergence
clauses. On their own, an independent clause
results
is a clause that can stand on its own. In fact, an independent clause is a sentence in itself. An independent clause has its own end mark. Since that independent clause is capable of standing on its own, we can put an end mark to it. That independent clause has its own subject and predicate, is a group of words, and is capable of expressing a complete thought. Please take note of that. A complete thought is found in an independent clause. And because of that complete thought, the clause can stand on its own. It does not need to cling itself to all other clauses for it to be able to stand. Excuse me for a while. All that it needs, all that an independent clause needs, are those three requirements. Just to make sure the clause should have a thought that is complete. Example.
Which will tell us that whole day is not happening.
I like to eat a cake. Is this a group of words, Patrick? I hope Patrick could hear us or could unmute himself.
Connection between tracks.
Erwin, is this a group of words?
Yes.
It is. First requirement, completed or satisfied. Second requirement, is there a subject? Is there a verb? Daniel.
One basic is that which language was presented and
Daniel.
form the plans inside.
Surprisingly, Daniel has turned his camera off today.
Yes, sir.
Again?
Yes, sir. There is subject. There's a subject.
There's a subject and a verb. Okay, can you tell us what the subject is and what the verb is as well?
The subject is I, then the verb is like.
Correct.
I eat.
Huh?
Like,
It's like.
I eat.
To eat, there is an infinitive. And I tell you, infinitives can never be verbs. Are not verbs. They are verbals. Your first answer is correct. It's like. So true enough, the group of words I like to eat a cake contains a subject, which is I, and a verb, which is like. Then let's examine the thought. Sir, how do we know that the thought can stand on its own? You read the thought, you read the statement, you read the group of words. If it leaves a hanging impression, like it leaves you hanging, the thought there is incomplete. If it doesn't leave you hanging at all, the thought is actually a complete one. For example, Shania, can you read that group of words to us?
I like to eat a cake.
Is it to you, like when you read it, to you, did it feel hanging or not at all?
Not at all.
And so what would you say of the thought, complete or incomplete?
It is a complete thought.
Correct. Therefore, I like to eat a cake is an independent clause itself. And look, it ends with a period, with an end mark. It has its own end mark because independent clauses on their own are sentences already. No matter the length, even if it's as simple as I did it. Group of words, subject is I, verb is did. Then I did it. Period. Independent clause. What about this one?
But the difference there in is the fact that the field is generated by the force of ice.
Can you read the group of words for us, April?
Which is not because
While she was putting the answer.
What would you say of this one, April? Is it one that has a complete thought?
No, sir.
What made you say that the thought is incomplete?
Because as a reader, you would wonder, like, what happened when she was answering the answer.
Correct. See, look at the realization. What could have happened all along while she was copying the answers? So something is missing. Something is not there. Our group of words while she was copying the answers sounds incomplete because it is incomplete. And for that, that clause is a dependent clause. For this lesson this afternoon, we will put aside dependent clauses. Our focus should be with independent clauses only. At least, I hope, I have already cleared out to you how independent clauses are supposed to look like. So far, do we have any question with clauses and independent clauses? It's important that questions be cleared out, questions be answered, confusions be clarified before I proceed with the task of coordinating ideas. If there's none, I'll proceed. The process of coordinating ideas is not limited to independent clauses. Because when you coordinate ideas, you are simply bringing ideas together. It so happens that your ideas may come in several structures. It could be that you are coordinating single word ideas or ideas expressed as groups of words in phrases or in clauses. And in this task, our pool of words used for coordinating ideas are referred to as coordinating conjunctions. What are the basic coordinating conjunctions that are ready for us to use? There's an acronym for them. The acronym is fanboys, with each letter representing a common coordinating conjunction. F stands for for. A stands for and. N stands for nor. B stands for but. O stands for or. Y stands for yet. And S stands for so. Please be extra careful because others, I've seen this before, I've seen this years and years ago, I've seen this school year. There are students who think that the letter B in fanboys represents because. Take note, because is not a coordinating conjunction. They also think that the letter S represents since. Since is not a coordinating conjunction. The letter S represents the word so.
We have the major mountain ranges.
Another thing. For, by the way, please be guided by the purpose of each of these conjunctions. My main highlight for the meantime would be the misconceptions with these words. For may be a conjunction or a preposition.
Which is located in the northern region.
When it acts as a conjunction, for coordinates ideas, brings ideas together. For example, the teacher got mad for they did something wrong. The statement is there. The teacher got mad for they did something wrong. Let's go to the function of the conjunction for. What is for as a coordinating conjunction? It is used to explain or provide a reason or to point out a purpose. And in here, we have a statement that says the teacher got mad. For what reason did the teacher get mad? For they did something wrong. In this statement, what is independent clause number 1? Claire.
Subtraction is attributed to
The teacher got mad.
Correct. How will we end this independent clause, Claire? What will we use to end it?
A comma.
Comma?
A period.
A period, correct. It's said earlier that each independent clause has its own end mark. What is independent clause number 2? Avril.
Find a crack, and if it will find a crack, then it will create volcanoes. And the volcanism there probably are one of the many reasons why
Avril.
there are resulting mountain ranges.
Sorry, sir, for they did something wrong.
By the way, I'd like to also remind everyone, when we classify independent clauses, allow me to specify that, emphasize that as well. When we classify independent clauses, we will not include any coordinating conjunction. So again, Avril, what is our second independent clause?
They did something wrong.
Correct. And how will we end it?
With a period.
With a period, correct. Sir, why is it a period, sir, not a question mark nor an exclamation point? It's because if you go to the original sentence, the end mark here is a period. So when you classify the independent clause, you distribute the period to the independent clauses. So here, the first independent clause is provided a reason. The reason is represented by the second independent clause. And so we make use of for as a coordinating conjunction. What for did in this statement is to bring ideas together. That's why, again, it's a conjunction. Let's use for as a preposition to really set the difference. I am doing this for everyone. What is our independent clause here, Clarice? Correct. It's I am doing this for everyone. How will we end the independent clause, Clarice? A period. Sir, the independent clause and the original sentence are the same. Yes, they are. Because there's just one independent clause here. And as said, an independent clause is also a sentence in itself. Sir, what about for everyone? For those who claim that for everyone is a clause, let's examine the requirements again of a clause to be called as such. Is for everyone a group of words? Yes, it is. Second, is there a subject? Is there also a verb? There's none. Sir, everyone, sir, is that not a subject? You can only call a noun or a pronoun a subject if it is paired with a verb. Without a verb, that noun or pronoun cannot function as the subject in a group of words. There's unfortunately none here. Therefore, since the second requirement is not satisfied right away, automatically, we don't have a clause. All that we have here is indeed a phrase. To be more specific, it is a prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase is composed of two important units. To have a prepositional phrase, you need to have a preposition and its receiver, or known as the object of the preposition. And so in the phrase for everyone, our preposition is for. Everyone functions as the object of the preposition for. In that statement, for does not function as a coordinating conjunction. It only acts as a preposition. Another word, so. The word so may function as a coordinating conjunction. It may also be an adverb. So we want to be careful when we use a word of this sort in a sentence so that it's not only in its site that we right away conclude that it is a coordinating conjunction. Just because it appears in the sentence doesn't mean that it right away acts as a coordinating conjunction. We have to still consider what it is doing inside your statement. For example, the clown.
And then the famous Himalayan content, this is content inclusion. This is
the clown made us happy, so my parents gave him a high pay. What is independent clause number 1? Nikki.
The clown made us happy.
Correct. How will we end that independent clause?
With a period.
With a period, correct. What is independent clause number 2? Krisha.
Several places and they move from time to time. India merges with Asia, where
Krisha.
the merging continent most likely
I cannot hear anything. Is it me or?
are mountain ranges.
Krisha cannot be heard. What about Rainiel? What is our second independent clause?
Okay, so we have now public platforms. Let's start with
Rainiel has not said anything. Micah.
Exclusive means it is already made outside of third class or within the next class.
Nothing has been said. Ralph, what is our second independent clause?
Exclusive organism.
So my parents gave him a high pay.
Again, what is it again?
So my parents gave him a high pay.
There was something that I said earlier when it comes to identifying independent clauses. Do we include the coordinating conjunction? We don't. So again, Ralph may ask, what's our second independent clause?
My parents gave him a high pay.
Correct. My parents gave him a high pay. You look at the word so, its function in this statement is to bring ideas together. And in doing so, the word so functions indeed as a coordinating conjunction. But aside from that, the word so may act as an adverb. Specifically, it could be an adverb of intensity. For example,
Frozen or crystallized.
I am so happy. In this statement, the word so functions as an adverb of intensity to intensify the feeling of happiness felt by the person represented by the pronoun I. It focuses on the act of intensifying the feeling of happiness. It's not one that brings ideas together. In fact, in that statement, I am so happy, there's just one independent clause. And it's the sentence itself. I am so happy. Another reminder, in the last ST, there was an item or there were items where you had to create sentences. That was in ST2. And then a number of you used words like yet, but, and so. I considered your use of the words then without regard to a particular punctuation mark, perhaps because you have not been told of the rule yet. But now I am telling you this. If you use yet, but, or so to bring independent clauses together, a comma is necessary to be placed before these coordinating conjunctions. Wait, I'm going to... There. A comma is necessary to be placed before yet, but, and so when combining independent clauses. Go to my example about the clown. The clown made us happy, comma, so my parents gave him a high pay. Take note, this is a prerequisite only when you are combining independent clauses. But if you are not, you don't need a comma to be placed before them. For example, let's have a sample sentences. The kids are all dirty,
which
but
are broad shaped volcanoes which shapes like shield. What is the structure of shield volcano?
there. The kids are all dirty, but their parents did not mind them at all. You look at what's placed after dirty, before but. It is a comma. Sir, what if I do it without a comma? Unfortunately, I'll mark your statement wrong.
Like a shield.
By the way, what if you also have something like this?
A complete volcano, but they are flat or just like a drumlet on the thing is. Say drumlet.
Same set of words. Same set of words. The kids are all dirty, period. But their parents did not mind them at all.
Like a warrior shield.
Do they differ in thought? They don't. They bear the same meaning. Are both sentences grammatically correct? The answer is yes. Both are actually grammatically correct. The difference is that the last sentence I have given does not do coordination. That does not use the process of coordination. Because ideas there are not brought together. When you bring ideas together, you are putting them in just one utterance or one statement. The last sentence I've provided has two statements. So the process of coordination has not been done. Another way of using but this time without a comma.
Relate that to a serious flood versus humorous flood.
A lot of things.
Humorous flood is more likely having some bumps or smooth. Serious is rugged.
Here, I need a lot of things that are expensive but are not difficult to find. The word but is there. But you look at the words that come after but. Do they make an independent clause? They don't. But did I use the process of coordination here? I did. The first idea I wanted to point out is I need a lot of things that are expensive. Second idea is I need a lot of things that are not difficult to find. Putting them together, I arrive at one that says I need a lot of things that are expensive but are not difficult to find. The comma is not a prerequisite since the ones put together are not independent clauses. The same goes with yet or so. Sir, what's the difference between yet or so? Both actually present contrast or a contradiction of ideas. You'll find that in your module. But the difference is that but is commonly used for casual or conversational purposes. For formalities, to arrive at one that sounds more formal, yet is encouraged to be used. Questions regarding fanboys. Sir, if I put words in a series, is that coordination? Yes. Example, Shania, Claire, and Erwin will go to the market to buy the props. Shania, Claire, and Erwin will go to the market to buy the props. Coordination is at work here. What are the three ideas that are put together? Shania will go to the market to buy the props. Claire will go to the market to buy the props. Erwin will go to the market to buy the props. Combining them, since the three of them are going to do the same thing, you might as well just mention, we'll go to the market to buy the props once, and you put the three names of the three persons in a series. Thus, coordination is still at work. Questions regarding the use of fanboys?
Most recent eruption was Taal.
Please, if there's anything, ask.
So that's a shield. That's a stratum.
If there's none, I'll proceed to another set of words used for the purpose of coordinating ideas. We term them as conjunctive
and the difference from
adverbs.
Shield
they are adverbs, but they are used for coordination of ideas. They are used to bring ideas together. And there's like a pool of them out there. I think, yeah, your module fortunately has the set of conjunctive adverbs with their respective functions or purposes. In the use of conjunctive adverbs, one thing is very particular: punctuation. How do we use a conjunctive adverb? A conjunctive adverb used in the process of coordination is placed between two punctuation marks. You need to have a semicolon, then you have your conjunctive adverb. The conjunctive adverb is followed by a comma. That's the format. Again, semicolon, conjunctive adverb, comma. Not that you will interchange the placement of the comma and the semicolon. The semicolon should come first. The semicolon is to be followed by the conjunctive adverb. The conjunctive adverb will be followed by a comma. For example, let me use the word consequently. I mean, from the word itself, we should be told that this conjunctive adverb presents a consequence or a result. Example. That's independent clause number 1. The students cheated in an exam. Independent clause number 2.
Dito sa northern part of Japan, may mga tremors. Kung ano na po sa Pacific Plate o sa...
The teacher chose not to record their scores. Is there a particular relationship that we could see between these two sentences? Claire?
Southern Japan.
Are these two sentences somehow related?
Yes, sir.
What's the relationship that you could see?
11 or August?
It's about an exam.
And then?
That the teacher will not record because the students cheated.
Claire mentioned the word because. So the first statement is a reason, while the other statement is a... How would you call, if the first statement is the reason, Claire, how would you call the second statement? It is the? Claire, how would you call the second independent clause? Correct. It's the consequence. That's the result or the effect, given that the reason was that the students cheated in an exam. So now I will combine them. I'll put them together using the conjunctive adverb consequently. It goes this way. The students cheated in an exam. Semicolon. Then I'll place consequently, comma, the teacher chose not to record their scores. There you have it. Semicolon, consequently being our conjunctive adverb, and then the comma. Sorry. One mistake that a few students did from the other class is that the letter T of the in the second clause is set in uppercase. You won't. You will not set the letter T of the second independent clause in uppercase because a comma is not an end mark. It's not one that marks the end of a clause. It just presents a possible pause. And so, the first word of the second independent clause will not begin with a letter in uppercase. Sir, what if my answer is the students cheated in an exam?
Its size, creating a bigger and wider scope of that amount of community. So, yeah.
There, I have placed a sentence in the chat box. The students cheated in an exam. Consequently, the teacher chose not to record their scores. Is this statement grammatically correct, Clarice?
Filled in with water.
It is. I won't deny that to you. It is grammatically correct. I have a follow-up, Clarice. Does this last statement follow coordination?
In the Philippines,
Yes.
Let's go back to the kids are all dirty, period, but their parents did not mind them at all. Was that was that created using coordination?
I've heard of the name.
Clarice?
No.
No, correct. So let me go back to this one. The students cheated in an exam. Consequently, the teacher chose not to record their scores. I am now referring to the last statement in the chat box. So Clarice, what say you? Does this follow coordination?
It could be a hat.
It does not, correct.
Which is
but the sentence, as said by Clarice earlier, is grammatically fine. It's just not in the process of coordination. What is again our goal in the process of coordination? We put ideas together. And in doing so, we will arrive at just one statement. All ideas are coordinated in one statement. Any question?
That is because of the pressure that is being released.
Any question?
As it pushes the solidified rock, it will create a more.
Because there's one more. Go, Claire.
Can you like repeat what is like the one you said? Was it sequence of like a sentence?
What sequence?
Like the one you asked, Clarice, sir.
Magma, the chamber can find an opening.
Coordination.
Wait. Was it about the question was it the question on whether the statement followed the process of coordination or not?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. To create a statement that follows the process of coordination, you will put ideas together in just one statement or one sentence. If you look at our last statement in the chat box, two statements are available. An adverb is used, but it does not, the word consequently, by the way, in the last statement, is not a conjunctive adverb anymore. It's just a mere adverb, an adverb of transition. It's just a transition word. It does not function as a conjunctive adverb because it is not taking the role of a conjunction anymore. If you use it as a conjunction, you're supposed to use it in just one sentence, bridging ideas together or putting ideas together. That is why the second to the last statement is the one that follows coordination. The last one does not. Claire, I hope that answers your question, Claire.
in the Earth's ocean floor.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay.
And they are
Let's have another one. I'll give you an independent clause. Before I proceed with the sample sentence, another way to coordinate statements. There's one more. There's one more. You use punctuation marks.
Of the Hawaii Islands,
Like a semicolon or
and since the tectonic
do you know how an M dash looks like?
islands are made,
I'll share something in Microsoft Word.
there goes the constant creation of the islands of Hawaii as well. The youngest of which is the Hawaii Island. The oldest is
I'll share something in Microsoft Word.
Then followed by Tuawe,
Okay.
Hawaii, then Oahu.
I don't know. I hope everybody can see it now. This is a hyphen.
Hawaii. Maui
Diba? That's a hyphen. You look at the length, that's a hyphen. This is a dash. Wait.
So this is the reason why Hawaii Islands are made in this format. And if this
See the difference in length?
the next island will be made
Which one is longer? The first one or the second one?
south, east.
The second one.
Kaya yan, pa-
This one is a hyphen. This one is a dash.
No, dalawang ganito.
Here's an M dash.
That volcanic spot is a spot to where the volcano, the constant formation
Ay, I got it.
melting of
The delete.
oceanic crust is done. And there's a constant opening of that certain area. which we
I
call
cannot pull the M dash.
hotspot of volcano.
The M dash is the longest among the three.
Creating the new ocean floor, and in the case of this
Hyphen,
plate,
dash,
new
M dash.
islands, not ocean floor.
It just so happens that
Created below the Pacific.
it cannot be really differentiated when students write something down on a piece of paper.
High pressure, the volcanic hotspot, it emerges
It's not
above
too
the-
quick to determine because someone's short line may vary if compared to another person's short line.
So see, this is
But at least I'm just telling you that apart from the semicolon, you can use an M dash to separate independent clauses, making the clauses go through the process of coordination. For example, I am sad.
volcanic area ang dagat. What is the common thing that we will observe if an area is a volcanic spot? Or if
I am sad, semicolon. I need your company right now.
or not necessarily volcanic spot, but
See? Two independent clauses coordinated
certain sea kung
with the use of a
there is a
semicolon. Another one.
Tajo hill is a hill. It's the result of folding and folding. But try to go to the neighborhood island, Camiguin. There are places in Camiguin, especially the north areas in Camiguin, na nilang dagat, na nilang bus.
Please assume that the two hyphens there create the M dash. The town is in ruins. M dash. All the trees have been cut down and all houses have been burned. That is with the use of punctuation marks. In your SP, just don't use the M dash because again, you'll end up using two dashes together. Even if you use shift, what is this? Shift, and then if you type it on your computer with a hyphen button, you'll end up typing the underscore. So never mind. Basically, phones don't also have an M dash. They just have the hyphen. Putting two of them will create a dash. In Microsoft Word, you'd see better the difference among the M dash, the hyphen, and the dash. Questions regarding coordination? Sir, what if in the ST where you are going to require us to type a sentence, I forgot to put a punctuation mark for or, but, and so. No, for but, yet, and so. What will you do? I'll mark your statement wrong because you're now told of what's to do, what you are supposed to do correctly when it comes to the use of but, yet, and so when connecting independent clauses. Another thing for nor, the word nor. When you use nor in a sentence, the second clause or the independent clause is rearranged in terms of its word order. Example, I am not guilty, nor do I see myself affected by the situation. First clause or our independent clause number one is I. Independent clause one is I am not guilty. Independent clause number two is I do not see myself affected by the situation. That's independent clause number two. But how is independent clause number two stated? You look at the statement. Nor do I see myself affected by the situation. You will not anymore state not in the second independent clause because the statement is already negative itself. The purpose of nor is to present negative alternatives.
Also in the same,
that concept of the option being negative is already touched or embraced by the word nor. So there's no need to still repeat the word. It's not anymore right to say, I am not guilty, nor do I not see myself affected. That makes it redundant. If you go for the regular presentation of alternatives positive in tone, you go with or. And in such a case, you don't need to rearrange words in their order. Example, I am willing to go with you, or we can wait for everyone to arrive.
We probably can say also that they are.
But please do keep in mind as well, the coordination process is not just for independent clauses. You can say Ralph or Patrick is needed by the team. What are the two independent clauses here? Ralph is needed by the team. Patrick is needed by the team. When we decided to coordinate them, we don't need to repeat is needed by the team twice. It just can be mentioned once. But the names of Ralph and Patrick are going to be coordinated using the conjunction or, because it's any of the two who shall be needed by the team. Questions? Please ask. I beg you, ask. To my YouTube viewers, if you have questions, you know what to do. You search for the answers online. No. If you have questions to whosoever are my viewers of my YouTube channel, when you get to see this video soon, I hope you could keep track of the sentences that I have mentioned. Unfortunately, I have them in the chat box, which is not made visible to everyone. And I'm so sorry for that. Don't worry, if you have questions, you can contact me in my Facebook page. Facebook personal profile. Grade 9, just let me be. You can send me a message you click the link. I'll have to edit it and put a link later on. You can search for me on Facebook. It's Sim Gadugdug V. Or you can follow me in Instagram. You can search for me in Instagram. I'm there. There in Instagram. Just send me a message. I'll do my best to answer your questions.
Intrusion
Any question from the grade 9 class?
is vertical appearance.
None so far, sir.
Sure. I look forward to hearing your answers for FTs 1 to 4, especially FT4, where FTs 3 and 4, where you are now to combine ideas. For FT3 and for FT4, you have to use conjunctive adverbs properly. Please do consider the function of each conjunctive adverb. As for the functions, you could see them here at the bottom part of your module. First page, bottom part of the module.
The lateral being shape. And it is as if believe that the lateral is
yeah, thank you for the suggestion, Shania. No, I can put the link to my Facebook channel, to my Facebook profile on Instagram and in the description box. See you there, people. If there are no questions, that'll be all for this afternoon. Goodbye and thank you, grade 9.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Sir
sir.
Sim.